Okay, so the goal of this video is to give a demonstration of the Ralstonia Wilt Dashboard. This is an interactive dashboard that summarizes all of or a lot of information from the literature, over 300 papers that report information on host of isolation and location of different Ralstonia wilt pathogens from around the world. The full URL is here, and the shorter link here, if you would like to type the shorter one to redirect to the exact same location, you are welcome to do that. This case study video focuses on what is known about isolations of Ralstonia on the Zingiberaceae hosts. So this is the ginger and turmeric family. So ginger and turmeric are both rhizome crops. So the food that we eat, those ginger rhizomes, those are below ground organs that also are vegetative propagation material for the next crop of ginger and turmeric. And there are strains of Ralstonia that can cause rot and wilt diseases of these hosts, and they can infect those rhizomes, which can allow them to move through agricultural systems. The dashboard does not cover all of the epidemiology. It covers where have strains been reported as being isolated on these hosts in the literature. Okay, so this is the dashboard. As a reminder, it'll always take about a minute to load, but for this video, I preloaded it. The default view is showing information from over 9,000 isolates from almost 300 articles. But we're going to be focused on the Zingiberaceae hosts. Okay, so there's a few different ways you can go about this. One way would be if you're just specifically focused on ginger, opening up host species and then ginger. You'll see that there are a number of common names that have ginger in them. I believe all or most of these are in the Zingiberaceae family, but you might want to search the species name if you're unsure. But if you're interested in culinary ginger, that's in this species, Zingiber officinale. Oh, so if we want to focus on that one, we would have to deselect everything and then just select this one and then hit the filter button. Okay, it's loading, loading, loading. That did not work. Let's go deselect ginger. Click filter. It says it there. Loading. Okay, that worked. So we can tell it worked because if we come down to this plot that shows the host species, we just have a single host that's listed. And we see that the vast majority of the hosts of isolation are the vast majority of strains that have been isolated from ginger are phylotype 1. There are some reports of phylotype 2. I'm personally skeptical about these, but it seems it is possible. The paper that those came from is not the most trustworthy one to me. So, if you're interested in kind of surprising reports like that, there's two places you can go. One is this table at the bottom that's interactive. Yeah, so by clicking phylotype 2, I was able to pull out uh, these kind of information, these strains. So the reason I'm skeptical about this is this Kubota paper is a group from Japan that are referencing strains from the literature that were originally isolated in Hawaii. These A strains are from Ann Alvarez's collection. It might be possible. I don't think that there are genomes available for these strains yet. But when those genomes do become available, I would be very surprised if they are not listed as um, if they do not actually place into phylotype 1, because this just really is not recognized. So we'll update that in the future if better information comes out about those strains. Um, but in terms of evaluating risk, it seems useful to say that there are at least potential reports of phylotype 2 on ginger. We kind of aim to try to be um, more complete, especially for any group that is not the pandemic lineage. Only the pandemic lineage, which is sequevar 1 and 2, that's the lineage that's been best studied. Most of these other lineages are less well characterized, so there is some notes of caution. Um, Okay. If we look at the map, we see that the majority of these isolates are from Asia. But if you look carefully, there is a Costa Rican isolate. There are those potential Hawaiian isolates. It's not only phylotype 2. If you hover over some of these, we do see some phylotype 1s that are listed there. Um, if if they're just if strains only have location information to a general area, like the state of Hawaii, they'll get the same GPS coordinates. So, okay. Um, you can look at the host information, not super interesting after you've filtered by host. But it might be interesting to look at the different countries where it's reported. So we've got India, where most of those Indian isolates don't have a phylotype assigned. And then Japan, Hawaii, China, Indonesia, Thailand, Australia, and multiple other locations. Most of the ginger isolates are coming from Asia, some from Oceania. Okay. But ginger isn't the only edible plant in the Zingiberaceae. So I'm gonna just reset everything. So to make a different selection, I'm gonna click Select All. That changed our selection that was here. And now I'm going to look at the whole family. So the Zingiberaceae, oops, I want to click deselect all, and then, oop, that's not working. Deselect all, I see. I think that's what happened the last time too. So I think you need to click deselect before you start typing. We can confirm that our selection was made correctly here, and then click filter. And so now if we look at the host, we now have multiple species that have been reported. We can see that ginger was making up most of those reports, but turmeric, the Curcuma longa species is present, as well as some other aromatic gingers. Some of these are ornamental ginger plants. Others are more minor culinary spices that get used in different cuisines. But the two most common and especially widespread hosts are going to be the ginger and the turmeric. We can confirm that we had selected our Zingiberaceae here. If you want to remove the unknown phylotypes so that only, phylotype validated information is shown, you can click that button. For this particular plot, I don't know that the proportional is particularly interesting, but you can proportionally see that most isolates of the Zingiberaceae family are phylotype 1. As genomes become available for these strains, that is a continued story that's panning out, which does make me just further skeptical of these reports. Um, yeah, and then if we look at the country location, so now especially with a lot of those more diverse gingers being introduced, we see Japan has the most reportings of Ralstonia on these plants in the Zingiber family. Um, but largely the plot does look quite similar to when we were only showing ginger. If you'd like to view any of these selections, in a side-by-side manner, my recommendation is to either download the plot via these buttons. So you click that and it'll download. Currently, it's in SVG format. We have a planned feature to have this download as either an SVG format, a scalable vector graphic, or a standard pixel-based image in PNG format. You also can just, take a screenshot from your computer and then bring them into your favorite software. Okay, so, oops, my screenshot delayed my computer a little bit. Okay, so I guess beyond the plots, there's also these interactive windows that can be useful. So after that filtering, we could immediately see there were 15 hosts and 17 countries. It is worth looking at these numbers in addition to the graphs. Currently, the graphs are showing just the most uh, the top 20 most common country or top 20 most common host species, most reported. If that is something that you would like us to change, we're welcome to, making this more usable for the community. Please report feature requests or bugs to this Google form. Um, in addition to being able to interact with the downloadable data through this form here, you also can download the data set to an Excel viewable format, either the entire data set or just the filtered data set. Depending on how you like our visuals, maybe this is your preferred format. When you do download this, all of these NAs, that's encoding that's required for R. So that just means it was an empty cell. Sorry if that is visually offensive to you. In addition to uh, the uh, Excel format, there's also a form of this data uh, on our living preprint. So he's been more of a co-author on things than I remembered. So we have this meta-analysis of the global distribution. If you'd like to see the data set, the full data set without all those NAs, you can download a supplemental version of it from bioRxiv. Um, But even still, we have all of the information of those strains. So this is the filtered. So you might want to make your own notes about how it was filtered, because that does not get reported in a README or anything. And if you're curious about the original publications, we've included URLs that hopefully, wherever possible, we use DOI, so that's a stable URL. But some of these publications are in international journals that we could not necessarily find directly on the web, but we're able to find them in ResearchGate or some other locations. So, okay. Yeah, so that is an example of how to use the Ralstonia Diversity Dashboard for understanding Zingiberaceae. I guess on the Zingiber note, so this data set is not has not been updated with information since probably June of 2024. So we do have some reported isolations of this phylotype 1 on ginger in the Netherlands. Very recently, there was a first report led from Devanshi Kokani's lab in Minnesota, reporting for the first time phylotype 1 Ralstonia on ginger in a small organic farm in Minnesota. So that kind of surprised me, but uh, it apparently warm enough in summer for grocery store or imported uh, rhizomes to have been used for planting material, and then there unfortunately became a small wilt epidemic from that. So yeah. Okay. So with that, I'm going to close out this video. Thank you for your attention.